had low expectations. I had real reservations, although wanted to be optimistic, sort of felt from the beginning that as soon as he was elected, our fortunes were tied to his, and we should wish his success and continue to wish his success. That said, I had low expectations, and I can still sort of sit here and say, this is going worse than I had thought it would. Before sort of diving into that, there are some areas that are real bright spots that have gone quite well. The first is sort of the staffing of the national security team. There are really, really excellent people in this administration. General Mattis as Secretary of Defense, H.R. McMaster. There's our colleague Fiona Hill, who's now moved over for the National Security Council. There are lots of people that sort of fall in that bucket of not just being a good national security hire for a Trump administration or sort of on paper, but objectively just a really great, strong national security team. So I think that is a source of comfort and sort of an indication of things being a lot better than maybe people expected them. The flip side of that is, are they being relied on and utilized? And that's the area in which I think things are going worse. And I do think it sort of is an explanation of some of the whiplash or chaos of the past 100 days, that Trump doesn't appear to be relying on that national security team. He appears to rely quite a bit on sort of family members, informal advisors, even sort of the National Security Council itself, that maybe there's a sort of shadow National Security Council, the Strategic Initiatives Group, and it's not even sort of clear who owns national security policy within the White House itself. And so I think a lot of what we've seen has sort of been national security by instinct instead of expertise. So it's been just remarkably uneven. In attempting to sort of put a strategy on top of what I would argue is an absence of any real strategy, people have talked a lot about sort of the unpredictability, and that President Trump has talked a lot about sort of thinking, seeing real strategic value in being unpredictable. I think with sort of the latest tensions around North Korea, we're starting to see some of the real perils of being an unpredictable leader. This is a space in which it's important that we signal not only to our allies, but also to our adversaries, how we feel, what our intentions are, what our red lines are. Certainly the national security establishment or foreign policy establishment isn't able to understand what exactly the policy is, where we're headed, what our values are. That makes it near impossible to imagine what message is being received all over the world and what the consequences of that might be.